Hello, hope you're great. My name is Okumu Andrew, and today I want to take you through about on my assembling and rather disassembling and assembling of my desktop computer. So today we have a desktop, an Optiplex. It's an Optiplex 3020 from Dell. So as you can see, this form factor. It's a mid-tower form factor of the case. So in this tower it has quite a few designs. I would like to say this is an i3 just because of this, but of course the processor might be different. Inside they might have installed a different processor, so we will look at that, the kind of processor which is installed. This sticker might just be put there by at the market. Now what we have, this is our front view where we have the power button. We also have a disk drive. It's right here. Here is just an empty slot. You could maybe put in another disk drive if you wish, or you could put in your floppy disks, but who needs a floppy disk? That's all technology. So I think the best, you could add another drive. And then we have USBs 2.0 right here, and then we have a mic and our headphones. So on the side we have our vent, which enable us rather the computer to take out air. Yes. So on the back we have the power supply fan, the power supply connector, and then we have this voltage changer. Then we have the internet. Before any of that, we have our service tag right here. Yes, we have our service tag, which is the serial number. As you can see, N/N, that is the serial number. The service tag is the serial number. So if you don't know how to look for it on the computer, you could try looking around the PC itself. It might be there. So continuing, we have our USBs 2.0. Here at the front we had 2. Right here we have 4 more. In fact, we have 6 more. So our total is around 8. So we have our Ethernet port. We also have our display port right here, and then we have our VGA plus a couple of more mic inputs and headphone jack. Also, I can see right here installed is a graphics card, which is where this is a DVI, and also have a VGA and a HDMI. So I think this guy was using another graphics display for the graphics. Now I think that is all to know about the case. Yeah, so as you can see, this is our Optiplex. Yeah, so this is the intro done. Let's dig in. Now, if you're going to open this computer, it opens from the side. So if you wanted to open, you have to let it lie on the side. And then right here, we have our screws 1 and 2. Here, I think this one got lost, so I think the guy uses this one, where you could just twist it anti-clockwise and get the case to open like that. This one sticks, I don't know, maybe so that it doesn't get lost, I don't know. Then you actually pull here. You can see there is a lever right here, rather a handle. So voila, your intestines, as they always say. Now here, as you can see, the board is quite small. The board is not so big. Let's first get a view of the components before we start disassembling. Now, as you can see, the motherboard. We have on the motherboard. The motherboard is of an LGA kind. LGA, in fact, LGA 1150. This is the type of the motherboard it has. So the motherboard is attached a few components. So let's get a look at them before we disassemble. So now right here, on my side, on the right corner, we have the PSU, and right here on the left side of the computer, we have the disk drive, the CD-ROM, where you put in your CDs and whatever. Now this side we have a hard disk. So as you can see, this computer has only 2 drive bays where you can add another hard disk drive. So the drive bays are 2 and this guy is using just 1. On this side, yeah, so basically this is all. So let's start disassembling. So disassembling, I'm going to use this. Yeah, this is looks like a very small screwdriver, but surprisingly it works on everything. So all right, so before we disassemble, since I had already unplugged, but it would be a very good idea to first unplug your desktop from the mains power supply before you start any disassembling, because you don't want to get a risk of shock or actually fry the motherboard because of your lousy processes. So the best thing to do first of all is to unplug everything from the computer, starting with the power cord, and then you go to the VGAs, and then you go to the mouse and whatever. So since mine is already unplugged, there is no wires attached. The only wires that you have to unplug are the ones that are inside. So let's start. I'm going to start by removing my the hard disk. So let me just put this right here. Now, let me remove my hard disk. So now this is a SATA connector, and this is the power connector for the hard drive. This is what takes data and this is what gives in power. So now, let's first unplug this. So to unplug the hard disk, you actually have to pull this inwards and then you pull it out. Yes. So if it takes a lot of energy, which means you're actually doing it wrong, as they always say, computer parts are supposed to be taken out easily. If you are needing a lot of energy to do something small, then you're actually doing it wrong. So what you have right here is a SATA hard drive because of this. And this is a SATA connector, serial advanced technology advancement. So we have to, if you want to check the storage you have, it is right here. So here we have 500 GBs of storage, and there should be a SATA here. This is of SATA technology. It's right here written on SATA technology, capacity 500 GBs. Even the RPMs are written. That is for the plates inside. They rotate at this speed. So the higher they rotate, the more faster the disk is being written and read. Now, the second step is to remove, because I've actually removed the connectors from the hard disk. Now we have to remove them from the motherboard. So we unplug it from the motherboard. It's right here. We also unplug. So this is the SATA cable. Now, the next is I'm going to remove my RAM chips. Removing the RAM chips also is quite easy. You just have to displace a couple of plugs. So you see these plugs right here. So you just push them backwards like this. No need for pressure, just something small. So like this, you just remove them. So it's quite attached. So this is our RAM chip. Now this one is written on PC3, meaning it's DDR3, and it's also written here DDR3. Now the capacity is 2 gigabytes, and these are the NANDs for the storage of for the working of the RAM. Now we have 2 GB, and let's see this one. This one is also, this is 4 GB PC3, meaning DDR3. Now in total, the computer is going to add up 4 GB and 2 GB to make 6 GB. So this is not as bad, but you would consider actually increasing on the RAM. Now let's continue to unplug the disk drive, the CD drive, this one. The other one was the hard disk drive. Now let's unplug the CD drive. Now for this one, for some cases, you find a computer where you have to unplug it from behind, but this one actually I have to unplug it from the front. If you want to unplug this CD-ROM, you have to unplug it from the front, which means this face must go. So to unplug this face, you just have to pull this plugs, just not so much, don't use force, like so, and then you find that everything is moving out easily. So this is the front face. So now we can see the skeleton, the body of the computer. Now, after doing that, you go back inside, and then you make sure that our connectors are actually off. So these ones are still on, we'll have to unplug them, like that. Now, after doing so, all you need to do is just push it in forward. Okay, after doing that, you are going to remove these screws. There are 2 of them. So after removing your hard disk, we have also actually taken out the front view. Yeah. So after that, let's go to something else. Let's first unplug everywhere on the motherboard, such that you can get some space. So there are a couple of wires that we actually have to unplug. Where first of all, we need to unplug the wire that actually brings power from the PSU into the motherboard. It's an 8 pin, if not 12 pin. So let's check it. It's right here. So you actually have to pull this lever onto itself as you unplug. Be careful not to pull from the wire, as you might end up pulling the wires off this conduit and leaving this connector inside. So this is actually an 8-pin connector which gives power to the board from the PSU. Now, after that is unplugged, we are also going to unplug. Let me take this out. We are also going to unplug power. We are also going to unplug these SATA connectors from the hard disk and so on. So let's unplug them from the motherboard. Alright, so this is also an 8-pin connector. Now, let's continue unplugging. So if you are to look keenly, there are some cables from the switch and the USBs. They are right here. From the power supply, rather the power pin, and the USBs. This is actually the cable. So you need to unplug it from the motherboard. So one is done. We continue to the other. All right, so it's done. This is what actually takes in power from the switch, the USBs, and the CPU light. These components right here. Now, if you are to look keenly, there is an expansion slot that is actually installed, and what is taking up that space is a graphics card. So let's unplug it and you actually see what kind of graphics card this motherboard is actually running. So just pull it like that. So right here we have our graphics card. So this is mainly used for processing your graphics, like for those who are into 3D, playing games and so on. So this is the graphics card. Actually provides more GPU power to it like assists the computer, the CPU. So this one is it's a GTX, it's a GT630 DDR5 1 GB. So it's not so powerful, but yeah, it works. That's out the way. Now there are still a few more components that you actually have to unplug. Another is the buzzer. It's right here, or the speaker. So let's take it out. That's out. We also have the switch of that senses that the case is actually on. So if the case is on, it will push this lever down to actually let the motherboard know that the computer is actually being closed. If it's up like this, sometimes it won't start because it's sensing that the case is off. So that's a self mechanism for protecting itself. So let's also unplug it. So that is out. So now this is a power supply from the motherboard to the fan. It actually powers this back fan to actually push out air. So let's also unplug it. So that's out. Sorry. Now we also have a power supply on the a fan on the heatsink. It also needs power from the board, so let's also unplug it. So that's out of the way. Now there is also another power input from the PSU. Remember, we had this, and there is also another one, this one. Let's also unplug it. So usually there are four pin connectors. This is 4 and this is 8. So sometimes you find someone does this. I've ever seen that in town, but it's not acceptable because this doesn't connect right here. And all right, so our motherboard is actually unplugged off of every cable. So let's begin by removing the heatsink and the fan on top, such that we can look at the CPU as well. So to remove the fan and the heatsink, you just have to undo these screws. So there are 4 of them. All right, so that's done. So let's decap it. Yes. So now, as you can see, the thermal paste is almost depleted. It's almost depleted. In fact, it's none. So I think there's a lot of heat problems. So from here, there is no need of removing this fan because it's actually screwed on. We could, but it's irrelevant. So as you can see, this heat sink, it's actually the fan is mounted on top. Because if the heat sink is going to remove heat from the CPU, and the fan is actually going to blow it out. So that's our heatsink. Now, this is like the engine of the computer. The CPU. So to remove the CPU, we have to do this. Just have to push this pin out of the way. After that is done, you push it out. Now the CPU is right there. So now let's take it out gently, because some of them have pins. So if you bend one pin, trust me, it will not work. So let's see what this has, if it has pin or it's just soldered holes. Let's first see. Yeah, so this is your CPU. It's quite a bit heavy for a small gadget. This is all because of the silicon inside and the transistors. So if you are to look carefully, I think there's a bit of paste actually hiding it. You could see Core i3 4th gen at a speed of 3.4. So I think there's some information hidden here, but we won't remove this compound, so let's leave it at this. Let me put this somewhere safe. So now with this I think I'm going to install it back, because I don't want to actually damage this. The pins are not here, the pins are actually on the board. So let me put this back, because if one wire is to bend, it's going to be hazardous to the computer. So let's install it back. All right, so having done that, let's remove the last wire from the computer, and such that we can remove our motherboard. So there are a couple of few nuts, around 6 or 8, that are attached on the motherboard. So let's take them out. So that's them. Let's look for, there's another one right here. All right, so the screws are done. They are how many? They are around let's see, there are 6 screws that are attached on, that actually stick the motherboard to the case, so they are out of the way. Let's get this motherboard out. So yeah, just gently, because you don't need to actually push it against the wall of the case, because it has these soldered bits which are actually sticking out. You don't need to bend them out so much. So this is a motherboard. It's more like a laptop, but this one has bigger capacitors, as you can see. Now what's remaining on this motherboard is what we have is our CMOS battery, the complementary metal oxide. Now that's out. It's right here. It's like a 50 shilling note for those who are like us back in the days. So that's also out of the way. Now you could also be able to see something that resembles the processor. We just unplugged this. So these are chipsets that actually help the these are chipsets that help the PSU, the southern bridge and the northern bridge. So these chipsets help the motherboard in functioning. So this is our PCI. Also we have some other PCIs. So these are called expansion slots. As I see, this one was actually unplugged. I think it was removed out. It needed to have a continuation, so I think it was removed. So yeah, so this is your motherboard, an i3. So let's first check this. You could be able to see made in China, of course. China. All right. So now, if you are to pay close attention to this motherboard, you would find that there are some labels on the motherboard. Now, if you are to take a close look, you could see fan CPU. So this is for the CPU. Each connector has its own label. Now you could see this is CPU power connector. It's right here, and this is KBMS serial connectors. It's right here for the serial bus from the front part of the case. We also have the HDD, ODD power. So all these connectors are actually labeled. SATA, SATA 1, SATA 2, SATA 3. So everything is actually labeled. This is said from the front panel, right? So this is the internal USB service mode. So everything is labeled. I don't know. So everything is labeled for you to know what you're actually going to put in. All right. So also there is the type of the motherboard right here. So if you want more information on the motherboard, it is right here. So this is an MI881R/Tigris motherboard. I think it was made from Tigris in China, I think. All right, so that's all there is. So yeah, that is my disassemble of an i3 3020. So let me assemble it back again in quite a short time. All right, let's assemble. Ogambye ku uploading etwala obudde bungi. Koze zino ziragawa. oba toginywezezza
sobola obuukayo
like eno obanga eri attached directly kuma gundi ebuguma ayayaya processor naye sikimanyi
so anokwokya
ebuguma dakiika just dakiika bwe ziti
olaba ey'essimu ebuguma kati olweya kompyuta simu osolooza togyerabidde teringa yange soka tankula buli kimu ogiteka si ey'omunaana
zankai snap into place. All right.